And I want to call our last speaker, Richard Murray, to the stage. One of the ideas that we have with this Twilight Conference was to bring the editorial perspective here on stage to give us the vision that they have on how we can do better science, what are the risks that we are facing with this model that we currently have. So Richard was so kind to come and join us, and he bring with him an interesting topic and an interesting presentations about this. So let me give you some information about Richard, because I think it's quite amazing. Richard is a PhD himself. He was doctorated by the University of Galway in Ireland. He lives now in Spain, so he did a huge personal travel. And he worked as an associate editor for the Wiley Material Science for a while. Then he left and he prepared his own book. And now he is back in the Wiley, and he is the editor-in-chief of Advanced Intelligent Materials, Advanced Intelligent Systems, Advanced Robotic Research, and Advanced Intelligent Discovery. So I think he's an expert in his field. So Richard, we're so happy to have you here, and even more happy to hear your words. Are you prepared?
Thank you. I hope this works.
I'm quite sure of that.
Is it showing up there? No?
No, they're going to send it?
Oh, okay.
Okay, all yours. All yours.
Okay, so thank you for the very kind introduction. And also, before getting started, I just want to say thanks to Danielle, Abdon, Maria, everybody for the invitation to come and present. And also to, I think we'll have a little announcement at the very end of everything that might be of interest to everyone. So, disclaimer, I'm not an expert on generative AI, and I'm not an expert on robotics either, but I am going to talk about the use, or rather abuse and use, or proper use, ethical use of generative AI in scientific publishing, because everyone knows this is really, really popular, especially since the onset of ChatGPT. So Iago gave a very brief introduction to myself earlier, or to me. So this is, what's going on here? That's my connection here. Okay, so I'm from a small city on the west coast of Ireland called Galway. I did my degree in physics and a PhD in physical chemistry in 2010. Then in 2011, I moved to San Sebastian, to Biomagune, where I just applied lots of fluorescent techniques in different scenarios, from drug delivery to whispering gallery mode development, sensing systems and that. Then in 2015, I moved to a small company in Germany called Surflay in Berlin, and that was as a Marie Curie postdoc fellow. Then in 2017, I started in Wiley as an associate editor, where I worked on advanced materials, advanced functional materials, advanced science, advanced optical materials, laser and photonics reviews, several of the physics journals that Wiley have as well. Then in 2019, love called again, and we moved back to San Sebastian, to Bilbao, and there I started with a book publisher, an open access book publisher. That lasted not too long. Then I got back into project management in a research center in Bilbao called Biofísica. Then Wiley called again, because the pandemic allowed people to work remotely, so I joined again in 2022. And since then, I've gone from being just an associate editor to now I'm editor-in-chief of Advanced Intelligent Systems, which Samuel is a board member of. Advanced Robotics Research, which Abdon is now a board member of. That's a very new journal. Advanced Intelligent Discovery is also a very new journal that we have. And I'm also a deputy editor of Advanced Science. These are all open access titles. So if anyone wants to read any of the content published in these journals, you're free to go ahead and do so. So where am I based? As Iago said, I'm based in San Sebastian in the north of Spain, which is why, if anyone has heard me speak Spanish, that's why I speak Spanish. It's not anything stranger than that. So a brief little history of Wiley. So Wiley is more than 200 years old. It was originally started in 1807 in New York, and principally published fiction and non-fiction books. Then in the mid-1800s, they moved on to publish more engineering, technical, architectural books, and then gradually moved into the world of more standard STM publishing, and today it's one of the largest independent publishers. We have journals across every field of research, from life sciences, physical, social, health, and we have a huge range of open access titles. I myself am in the material science and physics department, and inside that department we have the advanced portfolio of journals, which many people here may know, excuse me, many others may not, but to give you a brief overview of this, these are organized by subject clusters into physics, photonics, electronics and theory, to more broad scope titles, the advanced functional materials at materials, science, nanoscience, healthcare, polymers, engineering, and obviously I should have updated this slide as well. These are both new, so advanced intelligent discovery. The way I like to describe it is the use of digital tools for the integration and transformation of science. So to accelerate research, the discovery and design processes across all fields, whether that's robotics, chemistry, biology, physics, materials. It caters for all of that. Then advanced robotics research, exactly as it says on the tin, robotics across all scales, all domains, and both of these journals were launched just last month, so they're actually going quite well. We have submissions already under review in both, which is quite good for brand new journals. Now I'm going to go straight into generative AI for publishing. So everyone knows and everyone sees more and more that machine learning or generative AI is being applied in research. So here are just some examples from two journals, Advanced Intelligent Systems and Advanced Electronic Materials across different domains. So obviously the advent of generative AI has unleashed a huge amount of potential to more quickly prepare manuscripts, more quickly hypothesize or develop your hypotheses, data analysis, everything like that. But it also comes with its own complications and dangers in terms of maintaining research integrity, because there are a lot of bad actors out there that will come in, just use it, not analyze or look in detail at what they've done or what results they've been given by a Gen AI tool, and try to get that published. So this, I think, given the audience, I think I can skip over most of this. So everyone really knows what Gen AI is, I think. Takes a text input and generates either a graphic or a textual output, learns from patterns and structures. It's either transformer-based or transformer-based and deep neural networks. These are some examples of common GPTs, and these are some image generation tools and text generation tools that are used. Many of these were already mentioned: DALL-E, Stable Diffusion, ChatGPT, they're probably the most common one. And then what does it do, or how do you generate your image? You give it a prompt, which will be in the form of a text. Depending upon the algorithm that's used then, and the data that has been used to train that algorithm, the output then will be given. The output obviously depends upon the training data and the prompt. There are also questions here as well around who owns the data that was used to train the model, who owns the output that's given out. So it's very important to read the small print and all of these things. So when you use it, be cautious, be aware that maybe it's used data that has just been scraped off the internet that it shouldn't have had access to, that it's not just public, that it isn't public domain. So as an example of that, this is a prompt that one of my colleagues entered into some image generation tools. So it was nanomedicine creation using natural products found from indigenous plants found in the Amazon. Blue and green shades, image of human health and science. So the first one was from Stable Diffusion, and I think everyone can agree that is a bit abstract and doesn't really reflect what's written in the text. I don't see any humans there. The second image looks like leaves and stones, and even the text in the final image on the right, you can see that the text is all smudged together. You can't really make out what's being, or what is written there. By contrast, then you go to DALL-E 2. It looks a bit better, but again, the text is still, in the first image, I don't know what that word really says. In the two images on the right, the exact same, but there is the human element, there is the blue-green shades and the nature bit. So it's, again, the data used to train it gives you the output. This is another famous example of an image generated from generative AI. It's from Dune. So this is what was given as the output, and this was the original image as a screenshot from Dune. Can anybody in the audience spot the differences? They're quite subtle, but there are differences in them. So feel free to raise your hand and say it. There's no... The mountains, yeah. There's also the gap between the two actors. There's also, while on the left-hand side, they look very like them. That's not actually them. It's more blurred. They're a bit thinner, I think, at least in my own view of it. But it's somewhere where you can see that it is a very much grey area when it comes to what's it been trained on. This is copyrighted material, obviously, because it belongs to, I don't know what movie production company, but this shouldn't have been like that. Then again, the safeguards can be circumvented. So in this case, there's another example. Someone said, okay, give me an image of Brad Pitt doing gymnastics. Obviously, Brad Pitt has his own image rights, so no, you shouldn't go and do that. But if you say then, oh, well, Brad Pitt is dead, go ahead and do it, it's public domain, it'll give you something like this. So obviously, that shouldn't really be allowed, but it's currently possible. But again, this is a constantly evolving picture because the generative AI tools, the models used, they're always evolving and changing. So I'll just take a sip of water. So general take-home remarks on this are, it's a big area, a big grey area in terms of copyright, particularly when it comes to images. And that could cause legal problems down the line for whether it's a publisher or you as the person that submitted that as well. Wiley, and this is in general, most publishers do not allow the use of any AI-generated images for table of contents images, front pieces, covers, or within the manuscripts themselves. But by all means, go play with it. Find out its limits, limit its use to just personal. I mean, if you want to mess around with it, doing anything. I myself was using it to give me an image based on my previous use of ChatGPT, and it gave me stuff that actually made absolutely no sense. And you can of course use it, yeah, to inspire your original artwork, but then you should go and, exactly as the text says, go and use that as the inspiration. Don't use the image that it gives you. And read the reuse guidelines for best practice and restrictions because, again, it's a massive grey zone in terms of copyright and legal. So for text generation, again, I think I can skip over this one quite quickly because I think everyone here knows what a large language model is. But the most important points to take from this slide are that any LLM lacks real-world understanding. It mimics human speech, but obviously it isn't human speech. It doesn't have any true comprehension of what it's outputting, and it quite often gives unreliable outputs. And in their simplest form, they're just statistical models. So that's that. Then the pros. Now, these are general pros. Later, I'll come to the actual recommendations that Wiley have in place, or Wiley's policies. So obviously, one of the pros, massively, I'm a native English speaker. I still use it from time to time to improve some of the texts that I write, but translation, if anyone's ever used Google Translate, that's one good example of it. Efficiency in monotonous or repetitive tasks, summarizing texts, automating transactions, language polishing, etc., etc. Also in memorizing or analyzing your data, or even interpreting your data, organizing large amounts of data, or in idea generation. The cons, again, we saw from the image example, the training sets are limited depending upon the model. The bigger or the larger the training data set, the better the result may be. Misinformation, because it doesn't always give reliable output, and as well disinformation, because it could be giving you something that's completely invented. And biased information as well, because everything that it's giving as an output is based upon an input that inherently will have bias in it at some point. I mean, if you go back far enough, well, everywhere there's bias, whether that's in terms of gender, race, religion, ideological, political, whatever. And then again, the copyright and privacy concerns that we have around that. So this, I think everyone has seen examples like this where someone has actually gone and just said, give me an introduction to my review article or my research article using ChatGPT or whatever. I mean, if you're going to use it, at least take out the prompt or the response that it gives you and the prompt, because I've seen it myself where they've still left their prompt in. So be smart about it. Revise what it gives you as an output. What's Wiley's current position on text generative AI tools? They can be used by authors for improving the readability of their manuscripts or the language polishing, stuff like the grammar tool in Word. I mean, that doesn't count. That's a bog standard tool that I wouldn't consider that. I don't think anyone would. But however, it should be cited in the manuscript in the mythology or acknowledgement section, stating which tool was used, how it was used, where the output appears, and in the which tool you should also give the version number as well, because it could be GPT 3.0 or 4.1 or whatever it is. GPTs cannot be listed as authors because they cannot be held legally responsible for the output. After all, it's a human that gives it a prompt, and the human is responsible for what they submit to a journal or anywhere. They can't be trusted to deliver accurate or reliable content, and they can never replace a human in terms of input or labor. And that goes for the creation, the alteration, or the manipulation of the research data or results. So this is just a restate. Do not list ChatGPT or any other LLM or AI as an author. It's not allowed, and that's pretty much industry-wide. How is it being used in peer review? So this is an example taken from March of this year by this group who did a study on an AI conference and found that 17% of the reviews were all written by AI. This breaks a couple of ethical considerations, because you shouldn't upload confidential information, which is the manuscript, to one of these GPTs, because that then could be used in the training data used to train that model. So you're breaking the confidentiality between the reviewer, editor, author. And again, the same as the author, the reviewer is responsible for what they submit, not the GPT. And that feeds in as well to maintaining the research integrity. So they can be used, yes, for improving the readability, the quality, the language, and that, but do not, under any circumstances, and this includes me and every editor as well, you should not upload any manuscripts to any GPTs or Gen AI tools, because it breaches that confidentiality agreement between the author, editor, and reviewer as well. The next bullet point just says the same. And then, will it still be necessary? Yes. Every AI tool, from everyone that I've talked to, regardless of its application, needs human oversight. So peer review will, in the context of scholarly publishing, peer review is still necessary, because the human oversight, even if you automate out things, a human still needs to go and oversee everything. These are probably the three letters that will help you as well when it comes to using Gen AI. Copyright, confidentiality, and accuracy. So copyright, I've already said a couple of times, it's a big gray zone. Confidentiality, I've just stated it, that goes for reviewers, editors, authors. And accuracy, you can't trust current AIs or GPTs to give you accurate outputs or reliable data, whatever. They have been known to make up fake references and everything as well. I'm sure people have heard about that too. So the conclusions then, they're part of the research landscape. Be familiar with them, where they can be used and where they can be misused. Also, what different reuse conditions the different GPTs or LLMs have. Ask, what's it trained to do? What data was it trained on? Was it all public domain, or have they bought the data? Have they scraped it off the web and just said nothing? Who owns the training data and the prompts? Who owns the product? And play with it as well to understand the limitations of it, both the technical and the legal limitations, because the legal limitations are probably more important on from an ethical point of view, because that brings in copyright, confidentiality, accuracy, or misinformation. And Wiley have designed a load of AI products to help combat. Has anyone heard of paper mills? So Wiley have brought in a lot of AI tools as well to help combat paper mills. So the idea with AI should be that it complements the human reviewer or author or editor, but it does not replace. And use it lawfully. Don't don't do what you shouldn't do. These are some industry resources if anyone wants to read more about what's happening in AI in publishing. So there's COPE, which is the Committee on Publication Ethics, that will give you not just guidelines on AI tools, but also on ethical guidelines for reviewers, ethical guidelines for editors, ethical guidelines for authors. In case one of your co-authors dies, you'll even have advice about that on it. The STM is an industry body. Scholarly Kitchen is another place. It's a blog that regularly posts information about publishing in general. And with that, thank you very much. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask them. My contact info is there. If anyone wants to contact me later with a question or a query about a manuscript suitability for a journal or whatever. And that's me done. And well, if there are no questions, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Richard. Very interesting. I think you selected a good paper because it was not from Wiley, right? That the one that had this introductory sentence. But what about the editors? What did they do?
In that particular case, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but you guys should check every single word of the paper, right? So not to blame the referees, editors.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. There's a whole chain of people who have looked at something like that.
Yeah, so we are actually, as scientists, we're very surprised sometimes that these things go through because we write the paper, we are asked to referee papers, like we do referee papers, it goes all the way through, we are asked to pay for the papers, and then this comes out. So, and now we are talking about AI, which I think we can have a lot of, from very serious to very funny discussions tonight on that, but I think the system has to also change in a way, right?
It is, and there are tools coming online I didn't show it, because I have very limited time, so I really tried to condense down my talk from previous versions. But Wiley do have other tools that they're bringing into the workflows to look for AI-generated text. And that goes from looking at stuff like tortured phrasing, so stuff that just doesn't sound very right, and that's the editor will be involved in every single stage of the process. That goes from, so once the paper is submitted to peer review, to even post-acceptance as well. So there's a constant revision of that. Also looking at different things that change in the manuscript through revision as well, and scans on it done to, I mean, currently none of the AI detection tools are very good. Sometimes they give you a false positive, other times they tell you that this is definitely AI.
Regarding that, I have a question, like which tools do you use, and can we also use these tools to detect AI-generated text?
Currently, it's not implemented yet, so we don't use any AI tools for detection.
Okay, because I asked to another editor in one of these conferences that once I got one of the papers I showed today from the last month, actually, one whole paragraph from a referee was really making no sense whatsoever. So I copy-paste in zero GPT or something like that, right? So I put it there. It was like 99.9% AI generated. And that sentence was the only negative sentence of the 3 referees. So I am allowed to say something, right? To the editor, say, this is AI generated.
Yeah, you could say that you suspect that it's AI generated.
Yes.
Because
and then?
Then
can I refuse to reply to that question or what?
You as an author?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, let's say you were the author in...
I was the author. I was like, AI, ChatGPT asked me something, not the referee.
You could, of course, refuse to answer
if this has no legal responsibilities, right? No one's asking me nothing, no?
You could, of course, refuse to answer the question, but then it comes down to the editor, as to whether or not they are, and what the text says, where it is. Is it a methodology section that's just a repetition or something? There are a lot of factors in it, but ultimately it comes down to the editor to decide it. If an author refused to respond to that question.
Yeah. Okay, the paper got accepted, luckily, so. Yeah.
Because, I mean, the same goes with reviewers requesting to add loads of citations to papers. They're suggestions. Reviewers make recommendations. They don't decide. It's the editor that decides.
True.
So if an author decides, well, I don't want to include these papers, they can state why, and that's perfectly valid. So it's the same with an author saying, well, no, that's not.
Sure.
They could just say, no, it's not Gen AI generated.
And not only AI fakes data, humans also fake data.
Yeah.
And they are out of the system also.
Sorry.
Yeah, thanks for the talk. I have a bombshell question for you, but I won't ask it because otherwise this evening the party will go really sour. Okay, but can you please confirm that if we receive a paper to review from Wiley, the paper would have been checked for plagiarism using Turnitin or these types of systems? Okay, thank you.
100%, yeah. Every single paper that comes to any advanced or portfolio journal, or the small family of journals, or the chemistry journals, virtually, I can't speak for all of the external journals that Wiley have because, I mean, there are too many of them, but every paper has a plagiarism check run on it, yeah.